Ready? Okay, 1 second. Okay, Rich, do you want to start?
Sure.
Okay.
No problem. Hi, Hannah. How are you?
Hello.
Happy New
Look
Year.
at us. Happy New Year. We made it.
I was like 2021 with my hand on my chest for our
Let me
listeners.
tell you, I was worried that ball was not going to get stuck halfway through. I thought at the rate this year has been, I wouldn't be surprised if that 2021 ball got stuck halfway down, but we made it. It went down. We wrung it in. We toasted. We're here.
Yes, I'm glad we're all okay. We made it through one of the most unprecedented years in history. And that's why I'm excited for our new year, new episode. You know, it's all about a time for a reset. We have a very special guest joining us. But before we, introduce who our surprise guest is today, how was your recap of the year? I know everyone's gone through a lot mentally and physically. And, for you, what was that like?
You know what? In one way, I don't want to say enjoyed it, but it really gave me a sense of being able to center myself and focus on and realign my priorities and be able to kind of enjoy the smaller things in life. I think because we were always on the go, 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 and the fact that this really kind of slowed us down, it gave me personally an opportunity to kind of really appreciate everything around me and be able to kind of give myself some mental health care, and I felt that was something in hindsight, when I take a look at the year that we've had, that was really kind of the biggest takeaways for me in that sense. And of course, I mean, it was a manic year on so many levels, and that kept my adrenaline going pretty much.
Every day was something new, put it that way. We're all learning and coping one day at a time, and it was a challenge. And while I see a nice light at the end of the tunnel for 2021, we know vaccines have started to come in already. They came in December and they're trickling globally. I still think it's going to take a long time for the world to become normal and life to go back to really being normal, if there is our old way of living again, right? So
we're at halftime. We still have another half the game to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Hannah, I'm very excited because I just want to bring on a guest that we have, because I think she adds so much value in terms of what she's going to bring to the show. And especially with the kind of year, like I said, everyone has had. I love January. I love this month to reset. So should I introduce her?
Please get started.
So if you're thinking about a reset in 2021, you need to talk to the fabulous Raj Girn first. Raj started what would prove to be a lasting, successful multimedia business just 1 year after learning how to write a check, and attributes much of her success to not knowing the rules and not realizing she was breaking them. Raj has such an inspiring life story of how she survived an arranged marriage with a stranger, created a new life, a new identity in a new culture and in a new country. Raj became a serial media entrepreneur who's worked with thought leaders, celebrities, and multinational corporations.
Through that, she gave numerous mainstream celebrities, including Jennifer Lopez, Nicole Scherzinger, and Nelly Furtado, their first South Asian covers in Anoki magazine, as well as working with an impressive roster of multinational clients such as L'Oreal Paris, Estee Lauder, Johnnie Walker, Ciroc, Hilton, and Sheraton Hotels. Raj is also a confidence expert and heads up the newly founded The Open Chest Confidence Academy. She's been featured in 2 coffee table books, a documentary, and a motivational book that has become an international bestseller. For a complete picture of her illustrious career, please go to the About page on www.theopenchestconfidenceacademy.com. Welcome, Raj Girn.
Wow.
Hey, ladies. Oh my gosh, you make me sound so important. I forgot I did all that.
I was going to ask you, when you hear your bio, are you like, oh yeah, and that, and that too. It feels nice.
Absolutely. I mean, it just, it reminds you, how old you are, first off. And then second of all, it kind of humbles you because you realize that life truly, cliches aside, is a journey. It's a journey of where you're at in any given moment. And, hearing what you guys just said about me, I realized that my journey's been quite diverse and full of a lot of phenomenal experiences that, the 6-year-old version of me would have never realized that I would have become, who I did. So it's wonderful.
That's why
Thank you so
you're the
much.
right person for being here for our resetting. A lot of our, listeners and viewers, Raj, every year we do it around January. We like to reset. Last year it was about vision board and goal setting. And I think you're going to bring a lot of value to our conversation right now. So, we know you as a successful media entrepreneur. And of course, you're the founder and CEO of Anoki Life, hence why we're here, and the Open Chest brand. But we want to kind of talk to you a little bit about your latest venture.
So tell us, how did you find yourself on this path? And it's interesting how you were talking about the journey. So now we're talking about this specific journey. How did you get to this world of mentoring and coaching?
It was quite by accident, ladies. I mean, in 2017, I started to get approached by executives and entrepreneurs to coach them. Personal branding, public speaking, being able to handle media interviews in varied situations. And it kind of led me to build a boutique one-on-one coaching based business where I called myself the Open Chest Confidence Coach, borrowing from my already trademarked Open Chest brand. And the reason why I decided to not call myself a media, coach or a communications coach is that confidence actually tells people the result that they'll get working with me, right? Media, communications, and all these are tactical ways to help you get to a specific end goal. So I decided it needs to be about the end goal and not about the tactical way that we're going to get there.
Okay. And then just for a lot of our, listeners and viewers that might be finding out about this latest venture for the first time right now on our show, what exactly is the Open Chest Confidence Academy?
Well, I mean, in a sentence, it's a multifaceted knowledge and skill learning resource community dedicated to transforming personal and professional life through the lens of communications. And I do it from a very diverse and inclusive perspective because no any two people are the same.
Right. And Raj, why did you decide to launch the academy?
That's such
earlier, but I will say
it's such a big question, but what I found over the 30 years that I've been in entrepreneurship, 20 of which of course have been in media, and the last 3 or 4 have been really focusing in on having one-on-one conversations and breakthrough sessions. I've noticed that there's various things that kind of make up the human race, right, where we're on a different IQ level in terms of the knowledge and the skill set that is our starting point. That's one thing. The second thing is that we as humans, we learn and we apply what we learn in a myriad of different ways, right? Another thing is that we have varied intentions for acquiring the knowledge and the skills. Like we don't all go to better our skill set in public speaking for the same reason, right? Some people do it because they want to have more confidence when they, are having interpersonal relationships. So it's a personal thing. Other people are looking more from the perspective of how do I command a room, a boardroom, or, a conference, with my expertise, right? So, it's interesting that both types of people actually sit and talk to me about this challenge of trying to figure out how to be more commanding but genuine with their command when they're speaking to other people. And then there's also the fact that people have different monetary investments that they can kind of put forth where their professional development is concerned. And there's also different motivations, right? Like we are motivated differently. We have different intentions of why we want to learn what we want to learn. And the other thing is that we all live in different parts of the world. So when you factor all of these things together, it just kind of made sense that in order for us to be able to use this as the criteria to create the foundation of this academy, it needed to be available online, and it needed to be an academy where you can go and pick what the aspect is that you need versus just a program.
I like that because, like you said, it's not specific enough that one person may want one thing, someone else may want it. This way you can kind of really pick what you need versus expecting a program to be specifically tailor-made to you, right? So I think that's
Absolutely. I mean, like the choice is in the hands of, you know, the client, as opposed to being fed a one size fits all mantra, which I really don't believe in.
I love that.
So now I find it interesting because I know for me, the first thing that I think of when I think of an academy such as yours is that it's for businesses, or it's for someone who is in the business world. Either they're going through various stages or they're looking to enhance whatever it is they're looking to enhance. But can it also be for someone who is not in a business and they're looking for more of a personal uh, pivot?
Yes, as I mentioned, Hannah, the great thing about this academy is that, you know, skills to be better at communicating with people, skills to be better at understanding the communication that you're getting from other people is something that can be multifaceted. It can be placed into any aspect of life where you feel that you need that core advantage when you move forward. So really, it really does depend on the intention of why you're coming to us, but we will make sure that within the kind of wheelhouse of where you're at in these various different criteria, that there's something there of value to you. So some people will get like a really deep dive, right?
Yeah.
A long-term kind of, you know, commitment to their, you know, development. Other people just need that quick hit, right? They just want to be able to, okay, what is it? Where is it? How can I get it quickly? And they want a quick hit of transformation. The underlying emphasis of the academy is the word transformation. And so my goal is that whether you're getting the quick hit, whether you're getting the deep dive, or whether you're getting anything in between that, you know, the focus is that you're actually transforming some aspect of your personal and or professional development through learning these skills through mindset. So there's an understanding piece, and then the tactical through the how-to piece.
Okay. And then if we go more specific, Raj, in terms of people and their career, because I feel like a lot of people that are listening and watching are going to want to come to you for modifying, changing, bettering their career as they should. You know, it's their journey. What tools and programs specifically, if you can talk a little bit about it right now, that the Open Chest Confidence Academy will offer? You know, what could I expect?
Well, you know, there's 3 different pillars that we've kind of devised in order to kind of accommodate that, you know, bearing in mind that we've just mentioned that, you know, people are coming from different places at a different point in their life, and they want it for whatever the reason is, be it personal or professional. So, you know, one of the pillars is called Learn from Us. In there are 5 different products that they can look into. One is a video series that's called the 7-Minute Insight series. So it's kind of something that you, Ruchika, would love, because it's like get in there and get out, right? and then we have 2 interactive brochure series. One is called 101 and the other one's called Industry Insiders. So the 101 is kind of like the way you go to university, you get that first semester to kind of get the foundational you know, knowledge that you need. So it's one-on-one on branding, one-on-one on image, one-on-one on, you know, PR. So it's going to be like that. And then the Industry Insiders is kind of the intermediary stage. So basically, once you've got the foundational knowledge of what branding is, what are the pundits and the you know, industry experts and you know, the movers and shakers and the thought leaders saying about branding that you need to know, right? So that's kind of that up level from there. And what we do is we've done the research and compiled it for you, ease of use in one brochure. And then we have a fourth product, which is called, and this is one of my favorites, it's called the Transformation 31 series of courses. So this is basically within a 31-day period, right? You are drip launched little caveats of learning, which are getting you from A, where you're at, to Z, where we're saying that the transformation will take you. Now, this is good for people that don't have a lot of time, that need kind of that check-in daily, right? And it's literally going to be like 20 minutes, maximum half an hour, where they're getting just kind of fed that next little stage. And then the next day, the next little stage. And there'll be little bits of work that they can do in between that doesn't require them to kind of, take off time from, their life. So this is kind of made for them. And then we've got the one that's perfect for someone like Henna's personality, which is, and she knows what I'm going to say, which is basically the person that wants kind of that university course kind of setup, where
yeah.
you've got the modules, you've got the
yeah.
resources, you've got the extra learning, you've got the
That's
homework, right? And then you've got like, lecture series. You get to go into kind of a consultative Q&A series of sessions. So it's multifaceted in its support to make sure that your deep dive is fully supported as you walk through this 12-week program, and it's called 0 to 360.
So Raj, these especially for this one, it just came to my mind. Are you going to be there kind of speaking? Are they pre-recorded videos? Is there going to be experts with you? Kind of what can people expect if they're signing up, let's say?
So with the program that I just
Pause
mentioned.
for a second. I'm hearing a really high-pitched humming sound right
Yeah, so am I.
It just started, yes. Oh, now it's gone.
now. Now it's gone.
Okay. So do you
Um,
should we maybe have Ruchika ask that question again so
Yeah.
that the break is in her question as opposed to in my answer?
That's fine. Okay.
So Raj, that was great. Thank you so much. I wanted to know when you
Okay, it's
mentioned.
back.
It's
Sorry.
back again. So it's coming from Ruchika. Something in yours, babe. Is there something in? Listen, in your background, you hear something?
Yeah, it's gone now. See, when she's muted.
Hello? Is that
Yeah.
better?
Yeah, it's back.
It's pretty high.
Okay, 1 second.
Hannah, we've had this conversation before.
I know. I can answer these questions.
Okay, let's give it a few seconds. It should hopefully help.
It's definitely coming from you, though, darling.
Yeah, no worries. Hopefully this will help. In my
We can still hear it though. Like it's. Can you hear like a high pitch hissing noise? Listen for it, Ruchika.
the electric hissing noise from the back because the electric fireplace was on. So that might take a few minutes to turn off. Maybe that.
Okay, we'll wait a second then, if you guys are okay with it.
Is that already getting less for you, Karam?
No, it's the same.
No.
It's pretty consistent, actually.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to turn off background noise in audio setting right now.
Okay. Also,
How does this sound, Karam?
the same. Oh,
No.
it's gone.
Oh, it's gone now.
Yeah.
Is this better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Before we continue, CEO founder, could you turn your video off for a second and then put it back on? Because for me, your placement has changed.
I haven't moved.
For me, you have. Okay, cool. Now you're back on the
there we
proper
go.
spot for me. Okay.
Good.
So yeah, continue whenever you want now.
That's great, Raj. All these kind of programs are pretty exciting. I wanted to know, and I think a lot of our viewers and listeners might be thinking the same, are we going to get to hear from you on the specific topics, let's say branding, or is it going to be you alongside a guru or a pundit in the short videos?
That's a great question. So the 7-minute insight series will be just me. And I will be walking you through a specific tip that is very industry insider that you can actually garner like a quick bit of information to be able to, incorporate into whatever it is you're looking to accomplish, depending on which of those that you decide to pick, because there'll be marketing, branding, image, PR. So it'll be me. I'll be the one that will be addressing it. Now, where I bring in the experts is in the 0 to 360 program, because part of it is going to be pre-recorded lessons with me. Others will be like an interview, industry kind of scenario where I will bring in an expert. So picture this. First of all, I'll give you the foundations of what that module is about, what the learnings are. Then we'll take it a little bit deeper with a video that will kind of then take us to that next level of what you need to know about that module. Then there'll be areas where you can kind of go into a resource center where there'll be links and resources that you can go and actually do further work. And then for people like Henna, who, are eager beavers, there's going to be a section that will say, advanced. Now, this is not something you have to do to get through the transformation or to get through the course, but this is for people that just want the additional information. There will be a help desk support there, through emails. There will also be a private Facebook group dedicated to specifically this program. So you're not getting bombarded with all kinds of questions that are not about that. So we will be going in there. I will also personally be going in there. And then weekly during those 12 weeks, we will also be having Q&A sessions via Zoom, where people can come and address specifically what it is that they are having challenges with. So that's going to be like a rapid fire situation where each person will get like a X amount of minutes to address what they need to do, and they'll be booked in advance. So it just, we can be systematic with it. As far as just me, some people like to be able to just have dedicated time where they want to deal with their scenario. They can actually book sessions with me. It's called Consult with Raj Girn, and it's actually already available for people. It's something that I've been doing since 2017, as I mentioned. So this is the one thing at the openchestconfidenceacademy.com that is already active. All the other services and products that I'm talking about are going to be drip launched throughout 2021 and 2022. So, watch out for that. And if anybody wants to know when a specific product or service becomes available, just join our email list. If you go to the website, right at the top, you'll see, join my email list. You just click on that, and this way you'll never ever lose when we're doing the pre-launches, which is when you'll get the best, discounts. Or when the program then goes live. So that's the best way to just stay in connection without worrying about, oh my God, am I going to miss the pre-launch of this thing that's supposed to be coming down the pike? And then there's also for those people who, don't have the wherewithal to be able to work one-on-one, or perhaps don't really need that. They're looking more for a communal, environment, and just kind of monthly hits of sessions with me and a group of people. We also have that. It's called Monthly Mentor Mastery. So you can check that and Consult with Raj Girn out on the Work with Us pillar. And then the final pillar is the Design for You. This is going to be like a 2-day in-person retreat where we do kind of a corporate mastermind type of thing. But it'll, they'll have elements of spirituality there. There'll be guided meditations. There'll be hard hit learning. There'll be experts I bring in to deep dive and kind of really deal with specific real life case studies, things that you guys may be going through. And this will be a very small group of people. And obviously this is going to be a high end, but a high yield experience for people. So there's a little something there
fabulous.
for everyone. It'll be something for you, Henna, trust me. And for you, Ruch.
I'm already ready for that 2-day situation.
I already know that both of you are going to be into that. But obviously, unfortunately, until we're in a position where we can actually be in the same room together, that's something we're not going to launch probably until 2022.
Oh, definitely.
So now, obviously our show is all about the reset, the great reset of 2021. And when you think of reset, people are looking at personal resets given the year that we've had.
Okay, so what we're gonna do now is really pick your brain.
Can I have you guys do that again?
Yeah.
So that gap was, it's better if we're gonna cut it, we may as well cut it at the right part. So just do it again.
Okay. So Rich, after I say the year we've all had, you jump right in with the question. Got it? Perfect. So Raj, now it's time to pick your brain. Because, when you talk about a reset in our show being, the reset, getting reset for 2021, everyone kind of takes a look at that as a personal endeavor when it comes to resetting. So given the year that we've had, we'd love to get your advice.
So Raj, a lot of people, and I think we can all speak to this, have been suffering major anxiety, especially due to the unpredictability of they went through last year. What three, key tips? And I know it's like there's probably so much, but I want to pick your brain to just pull three from you that could really help one declutter their mind going into 2020.
I think that the first thing you need to do, like to preface the three, I actually have five, but I would. So I think the first thing that people need to do is that you need to get your mind prepared to do the work. So never make resetting about a time of year. And I feel that's the pressure that we put on ourselves, where at the beginning of a calendar year, we set all of these things. And when they don't happen, which oftentimes they don't, research proves a lot of times they don't, we then don't feel we can set another goal because the year's already passed. We've already missed it. So I feel that you need to make it about a time in your life, right? Make it about a time in your life, right? When you do that, you're going to be very conscious of the fact that this is actually about you and not about a year. It's about you, right? So the first thing I would do is I would dial in to your higher self. Now, as cliche as this sounds, I want you to think about this for a second. If you had the opportunity to be able to speak to the version of you that's already gotten to where you want to get to by the end of the year, what would be the advice that version of you would tell yourself? Think about that for a second, right? Now, when you do that exercise, the reason why it's so powerful is because you are now not thinking about all of the limitations that you have. You're not thinking about how you're getting there. You already know that you've gotten there. So knowing that you've gotten there takes the pressure off of the journey. And now what you're doing is you're like, okay, so, Ruchika says that December 2021, I have accomplished A, B, C, D, which were the things that I wanted to accomplish. And what would have I done with the version of me that I am today to have gotten here without the pressure of wondering whether I will, because I will, because I'm at December 2021. So that's the first thing. And there's ways to do this, guys, right? It's the kind of thing that I do with my clients. There's ways to get there, no matter what your starting point is. And then the second thing is document yes. Your journey, because if you don't document your journey, it hasn't really happened, or you can pretend that it hasn't happened, or you can pretend that you didn't set that goal. If it's scheduled, it has become a reality. And I'm not talking about in your mind, because your mind can play tricks with you. There's the conscious, there's the subconscious, there's the superconscious. Which one of those are you going to lock that away in, right? To allow you the availability to pretend that it actually wasn't really something you needed to do this year.
That is so true. When you write it down, it's real.
That's the key. And then contemplate on it, guys, right? When you write it down, and what I do is I have a whiteboard in front of me in my office. You put those key things on your board and then look at you every single day. And every now and again, you have a different epiphany. And then you write that down. And then all of a sudden, you will be amazed that you've created a roadmap for yourself. And who better to create that roadmap than the person that knows you best, which is you, right? And this is why a lot of these one-size-fits-all programs and courses and masterminds don't work, because they are predicated on the person that's teaching them and their journey, as opposed to putting the power in your hands and making you the person that has to come up with this. And there's a lot more work involved in that. But guys, your chances of succeeding is extremely high if it's coming from you. So it's internal to external. Internal, right? You understand what it is because it's coming from you. External is the execution piece. Right. Now, if you're trying to execute something that somebody else is telling you is doable because they've done it, tell me what in that sentence is actually motivating you to do the work, for the pain that it's going to take for that stretch to happen for you to accomplish that milestone.
That is so true. How many times have you heard that, Ruch, where someone would say, listen, I've done it, you can too. And for me, those words are empty, to be honest. And what you've said, Raj, makes complete sense. And I really love how you were saying that it's almost, it is reverse engineering, where you take a look at you completing these projects. Now you work backwards on how to do it.
And isn't that easier?
Sense.
Isn't it easier to say to yourself that I have done this? So the version of me in the future that's already done this, right? And the version of me that I am today, that now that doesn't have the pressure that, you know, will I get there? Because I will, because I've envisioned, I've met her, right? Now all I have to do is work backwards from where I am already in the future. Isn't that a lot easier?
Oh, yes.
Than it is to try and get to somewhere that your mind hasn't yet accepted that you can get to.
Think about that. You have to process that achievement. And sometimes being able to process it, you're not really sure how to do it because it's not tangible. Once you've processed it in the way you're describing, it makes total sense.
Absolutely. And here's the other thing, right? People get stuck in these milestones they're set for themselves, these goals they're set, and goals and milestones are different. So that's a whole other discussion, which of course we can get into if you want to. But as you know, when you get to that goal or that milestone, ask yourself specific questions about having reached there. Things like, am I happy? Am I fulfilled? Is this what is this what I envisioned that I would feel like? Has this empowered my life further? Is this step forward a step in the right direction? And the reason why I feel you need to do that each time you hit a milestone rather than a goal, and let me just kind of preface that, like, in a year, I don't feel that you should have any more than 3 to 4 goals. These are things you're going to accomplish. Milestones is your roadmap to get to each goal. So you could have 3 steps to one goal. You could have 7 steps to another, which I don't recommend because I feel that's putting far too much pressure and you're setting yourself up for failure. And again, I teach people how to do this, guys. And it's because I've done it. I've already been the other version. I've been the version of me that hadn't yet discovered the higher version of me, right? So I know if there's anyone that says that, oh my God, Raj, like, you've done all these things, this is why you're able to do this. No, I have done all these things because I've made all the mistakes to get there. Yeah. And what I want to do with my 30 years of entrepreneurial experience is I want people to get there in 30 minutes, in 3 days, in 3 weeks. I don't want it to take them 30 years to get there because it's just not necessary. And then the other thing I want to also say is set time aside for yourself, guys. Like do that for yourself, because otherwise what you do is you roar through the year because you have these 4 goals that you need to get through and these various milestones to get to each of them. And as you get to each of them, maybe one goal is predicated on completion for you to get to the next one, or maybe they're just very separate goals, right? Only you would know what that would be once you go through the exercise of setting them. And again, I help people to do that as well. Like, how do we do that, right? But you have to set the time aside each time you hit any one of them, whether it's a milestone or a goal, to just make sure that what you've accomplished is in fact where you want to go. Like, check in with yourself, but don't roar through them all. Get to the end of the year. And I have clients that come to me. I've actually had a number of them come to me last month in December, where they're like, I did all this work. I got all my goals accomplished. And then I realized that it's not actually where I wanted to be. And I said, it's because you didn't take the time to do that extra step of checking in with yourself. And then here's the other one, guys, right? And this is one that I have always been very, shy of doing for myself, which I do a lot of now, which is pamper yourself.
I'm so glad you brought that up because that was my question for you. Self-care. I am all about self-care, and self-care is so important, but it gets lost. And I wanted to ask you, when it comes to self-care, what 3 tips would you recommend when it comes to looking inwards and finding that balance and focus?
Wow. Okay. Well, I think there's a number of ways that you can do this. I say one thing is for you to make sure you understand what's the definition of self-care is for you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, don't make it about the pop culture, right? And the cliches of what people believe that to be. And don't think that the word balance means that equates to self-care, because it doesn't. I mean, some people need to work more than others to feel balanced and to feel calm and to feel at peace, and to feel that when they take time off, that they can pamper themselves. And that for them, that approach for them works, right? Other people need balance in a 30% perspective, right? Like partly mental, partly physical, partly heart based, or execution or physical based, right? So I think that that's the first thing that you've got to really determine about self-care is,
Sorry,
what
just
is that
explain the 30
definition for you?
What is the 30-30-30? Explain that
So
again.
basically, if you've got 100% of your time and you spend 30% in this, 30% in this, and 30% in this, or like 33.3% if you want me to get really exact, right? That makes up your 100% of the time that you have in a given week or a month, right? Okay. Some people feel that they need to have equal, slices of a 3-piece pie in order for them to be taking care of themselves from a self-care perspective. And I say no. I say the first thing you need to do is identify what self-care means to you. And some people need to read books. Other people want to jam out to music. Other people need to sit and have conversations. Some people need to have loads of sex. Other people want to be able to just have a fabulous bath, read a book, and have no one in sight. And other people just want to sleep. So it's like, what is it for you? So I think that's the first thing you need to determine. The second thing is schedule it in. Again, like as I said before, schedule it into your agenda of life so that you don't put yourself last all the time. I feel self-care or lack thereof is always predicated on the fact that we always put it at the bottom of our wheel of importance, or our pyramid rather of importance. Don't do that, because the self-care piece is actually the only piece that's going to help you carry you through all of the other things that you got to get through in your life. Some of them are hard, some of them are challenging, others are exhilarating, but that self-care piece is almost like bringing your being back to ground zero.
Understood. Yeah.
Yeah. And there, I feel that those two are really, really important to do. And then the third is obvious: execute. Do it. Do it. Don't cross it off and reschedule it for next month. Do it, guys. And then write in your diary how you felt about the self-care. What did you find out about yourself, right? Like, this is important, because by the end of if you do this once, say you're one of those people that does it once a month, you've done it 12 times by the end of the year, and you've documented it in your diary. You've got 12 chapters on the growth that came from just the self-care piece itself. That's powerful.
Powerful. Absolutely. And Raj, now from self-care, we're going to move to family. The one thing that's been challenging for a lot of people, especially in our, no kid-centered community, when they reach out to us, was balancing family time and personal time. Since our home, for the most of us, was our center of our universe. You're working, you've got the kids in the corner, you've got to go help your mom. Like, everything is all melanged into one area. What steps can we take to start building a routine? And it kind of goes into what you're talking about, self-care, about taking time for ourselves. I know you said schedule it in. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else kind of leading into it? Because when you were talking about this, it led me to, continue this conversation. I think it's very beneficial.
I think what I would say in this regard is, oftentimes when people say, carving out time for themselves, they look at this as being only physical time, right? They don't look at the mental time that they need to carve out, the spiritual time they need to carve out. All of these carve outs, right, are necessary in order for you to actually feel that this is a priority for you, right? So that's the first thing that I think that it's a mindset thing again. And I feel that pretty much every every change that you want to make, any transformation that you need to make, you need to start with the mindset piece first. So I think, identify the fact that the time that you're looking for to build out for yourself is predicated on multiple facets of, what you need. You need physical alone time, right? Because this is how we kind of reset our psyche and our being. But then the mental space as well needs to be able to have that space to reset. Then, this helps you kind of tap into the essence of your being, right? Some people call it their spirit, their higher self, the voice that they hear in their head that they keep not listening to because they're too busy to set aside time to sit with that voice, right? And the other thing is, I've already mentioned that you need to schedule the time in order to make sure that you do this, especially when you're in a household where there's oftentimes 3 different generations living and working together. Everyone is on a different schedule, and somehow you need to make that the energy in that house.
Sorry.
You okay, love?
Yes,
okay?
I'm good.
Okay. And sometimes what you need to do is you need to be able to figure out how to make that energy work. Oftentimes to do that, shutting off and kind of almost putting kind of like a barrier around your energy field and theirs is necessary, because it's the only way that you can actually focus and function with all of this happening in your space, right? And again, as I mentioned to you, there's ways to do this, right? Like this is not something that is, only available to the few. This is available to everyone. It's a skill. It's something you have to just learn how to do. And you have to go to people that know how to do this, right? Again, another thing that I help my clients with. And then the other thing is, plan time outside of the house, right? Like think about what it makes you feel when you actually get to breathe the fresh air, because we kind of have fresh air now just because everyone's on lockdown, right? That you can actually smell the air and not the pollution, right? So physically removing yourself is also extremely important because it helps you with all the other stuff as well, right? Again, that noise isn't there then. That is there with the multiple generations of people on their own schedules times 10 in a small environment, right? And the other thing is that when you do that, do things that lift you up. Do things that actually make you feel good about yourself, right? Don't make it about going and doing grocery shopping and, go for a nice walk. Let's, grab a coffee and go for a walk and see nature. Like nature is never affected by the psychological noise that we allow ourselves to be absorbed with, right?
That's a great point. Yeah.
So why not kind of soak that in, right?
Rod, really quickly, I have a question for you. While you were saying this, it kind of came to me, and I go off script, but that's what Enochian Censored is all about. Felt something that stayed with me about if you have to schedule things in, scheduling in, let's say, spirituality, right? Like I've started to schedule 5 minutes in my morning. I need to read a chapter that makes me feel good and calm. A lot of people feel when they go out for a walk, they try to take a break, they can't shut their mind off, Raj, that they've got the coffee, they've got the beautiful nature, but after 10 minutes of walking, it's, and then this is happening, and is that going to work out? And then can you actually train your mind to shut off from that?
Absolutely. You absolutely can. And again, it's not something that is just available for the few, that you're all of a sudden miraculously born with this, right? This is a taught skill. One of the most common ways that people do this is meditation, right? So mindful meditation. And again, it's like anything. It's like riding a bike. It's like learning how to cook, right? You don't start at the 7-course gourmet meal. You got to kind of build yourself up to it. And stilling the mind, which is what meditation helps you do, is something that you have to actually learn how to do. It's a practice, right? And there's an intention with that practice, and you can be taught to do it. And it needs to be something that you do every single day. It's like you get up in the morning, you grab your coffee or your kombucha or whatever it is that, you do in the morning, right? You put your clothes on, there's certain things that you do every single day without fail, no matter what the day is going to be about, right? Why can this not be a part of the absolutely I must do things in a day? And why does it need to be an hour sitting on a lotus? Like, why can it not be 5 minutes of complete silence where you have music or you have guided meditation, which I think is the best place to start, is guided meditation, which has a bit of music and it also has a voice that guides you through a visionary exercise. When somebody guides you through a visionary exercise, right, you're going on a visual journey with them through their words and the music and how it makes you feel, right? All of a sudden, you're not thinking about all those other things that you just talked about, right? As you build this out, it'll, in the beginning, it'll be like a forced thing. And then after a while, you won't even realize that multiple times throughout the day that you actually went into a meditative state. Like this actually, because, I've been, meditating for probably the most of my life, actually. So I noticed that I go into different phases of meditation throughout the day, right? And this is why I'm one of those people that you can put me in the busiest airport and there could be all kinds of chaos going on and I don't hear any of it. And I can sit there and do whatever I'm doing on my laptop or read my book without hearing the noise, because you learn to hear you learn to hear with intention, as opposed to being abused by the noise, which is what most people do.
I love that, hear with intention.
Right?
That's such a great way to put it. So Raj, as a mother, I would love to get your perspective as a mom, especially when it comes to kids nowadays. With the remote learning and the lockdowns, there's that lack of socialization and there's that sense of anxiety, especially among the kids. So what 3 quick tips can you share for parents who are noticing the emotional and mental challenges that their kids are facing?
Before we answer that, to our listeners and viewers, if they may not know, Raj is a mother to a beautiful and lovely son, Karam. So that's why we have this question for her as well. She is
Karam, we love you.
every month. I wanted to make sure they knew the background to the question.
Absolutely. He's my beautiful 23-year-old son. And so here's the thing. I'm not going to answer this question based on, age or gender or anything else. I mean, like, when you hear what I'm going to say to you guys, think about your children, whatever age they may be, what gender they may be, or whatever the case may be, because this is applicable irrespective of that. The first thing that I think that all of us would think is very obvious, but it's something we don't do, and that is talk to them regularly. Talk to them regularly so that you can tap in and see where they're at, because oftentimes they don't actually even know that they're going through something because they haven't actually had the conversation about it. It hasn't come into their conscious mind, but it's deep down in their subconscious space, which then, when it's there too long, it comes out in a very reactive way, right? And the best way to, combat that is just to check in and have these like little regular conversations. Is very powerful. And what it does is it normalizes having conversations about feelings, right? And that's important from, the get-go from a young age. And it will really set them up to have very deep and meaningful interpersonal relationships as well as professional relationships. It's just something we don't do enough of. Second thing I would look at is, I would say that, again, do little excursions with them that actually are about them and not going to the grocery store to pick up, toothpaste. Like actually do something that both of you would enjoy doing, right? So that's the other thing. And it gives them something to look forward to, that, oh my God, like, my mother is actually taking time, or my father is taking time out to do something with me.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds like we do this just because we're in each other's space all the time, but we actually don't. We don't spend time with each other. That is completely about being together, right? And that's the other thing. As a child, you need to learn that young. It will help you in your personal and your professional life as you move forward. And then I think that the third thing would be, I think that you know, being at home, being on lockdown, the whole anxiety about that, because kids aren't really kind of prepared to know, they don't have the tools to know how to deal with this, right? I feel that you need to have 2 or 3 different schedules throughout the week. So if you're going to be doing the homework at this time and playtime is at this time, then switch it up. Like maybe if you decide that you're going to do, and then maybe you have a day that's completely free where you guys just, you know, eat pizza and, you know, dance and watch movies and
Aw.
and drink pop, right? It's kind of like, you know, on the 7th day, God, you know, relaxed. Do you know what I mean? Is that kind of a
I
scenario?
want that day.
But you know, when you're home all the time and you're not having to take time out every single day to commute and all these other things, realign your time so you can actually take that day or that or half a day off, because you do have that time. You used to go to work every single day, and you add all that commute in, that's at least half a day, if not more.
Yeah, totally.
Right? Yeah.
Thank you so much, Raj, for all this information. You know, having you on to start our year, it's been phenomenal. I'm already starting to think the next time we can get you on and kind of just dig more into goal setting
Yeah.
with you. So, you know, I know our viewers and listeners are going to be looking forward to that. So just thank you. There have been so many great takeaways, and we look forward to having the Open Chess Confidence Academy, you know, roll out, like you said, in bits and pieces in 2021 and 2022. And we wish you nothing but success. And to all our listeners and viewers, you know, we're excited for you to see this this academy. There's a lot of powerful stuff that's going to bring value. So
Ruth,
Thank
what
you.
was your takeaway? What was your, I know there's so much to cover.
I know Raj, I've had conversations with her for my own personal space, which I need to have another one with her about. But I think for me, the biggest takeaway that, you know, Raj has always told me is about that conversation that you need to have with yourself, which we don't do. You know, she said, have you stopped midway to be like, but is this now giving me what I want? Is this actually, now I've got it, how's that feeling? And those check-ins are so important. So that's something that I've really taken it, you know, back home with me to think about.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you for that, Ruth.
there's been a few. I mean, first of all, I'm glad you defined goals and milestones, because I know for me, I get those confused, and I didn't realize that there were 2 completely separate things. So that was huge. And secondly, and I think I mentioned this while we were having this conversation, is I love the idea of that. Like I call it the reverse engineering, where you actually, you know, think about your accomplishment first, and then you work your way backwards to get to that point. I think that just shifted my brain, because you know what I mean? That was just like, that just makes so much sense. And it's something that is doable, and it doesn't seem so overwhelming, because that's always something that frightens. I know for me personally, it frightens me up when I feel it's overwhelming. Okay, you know what? That's it. I'm checking out. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do something else, because that just seems like way too much work and way too much energy. And, you know, am I dreaming? Is it realistic? You go through all of these kind of things. So I think that really, really helped out. So Raj, before we close, please tell our global audience where they can go for more information on the Open Chess Confidence Academy.
Well, thank you so much for having me on, ladies, and thank you so much for the kind and generous words. I want to leave you actually just with one thing before I move on. When you set your goals and your milestones, you know, some people do them as vision boards and other people do them as, you know, items in their agenda. Always remember that just because you're doing something doesn't mean that it gets done unless you constantly check in with it. It really is that simple, guys. Like, you know, you hear about people doing vision boards, which oftentimes people don't do them, right? So that's a whole other conversation. But again, it's something that I do with my clients. When you put that up on your board and you do it at the beginning of the year or at the end of the year, ready for the next year, and then that's it. And you don't check in on it, and you don't move things around, and you don't change things up, and you don't, you know, go back to it to see if you're still actually on track, right? That can be a major problem. And it's the reason why people fail. And it's the reason why people feel that they don't deserve to succeed. So if this is you, if you're looking for guidance in this regard, come check us out. You can go directly to www.theopenchessconfidenceacademy.com. You can also follow us and stay connected with us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube at the Open Chess Confidence Academy. And if you just want to, see how we could work together, send us an email, askcoaching@theopenchessconfidenceacademy.com. And thank you so much, ladies. And I look forward to having the best year in 2021, because I really do believe that we all deserve it and we can all do it.
Thank you.
Cheers to that. Thank you, Raj.
Take care, everybody.
Okay.
Great.